What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me and you can hear me. What's up, MJ? We got Fabian in the house. We got Jacek. What's going on? We got Julio. We got Lynn. We got Dave. We got Onani. We got Shane. Always good to see you, Shane. I can't do these without you. What's up? And I see a bunch of people. I can't see your face. Mick Young, good to see you. I need to see Simon. I need to see Lawrence. I need to see Robert. I got a terrible habit of just throwing people out of the call. I did a few accidentally last call, Martini. And when I did it, I banned them from ever coming again. Like for their whole life. That means you'll never get to come on one again. I think I hit the wrong button. So I'm about to hit that same wrong button to Lawrence and Bill and Teresa. I just want to see your face since we're real faces, and it gives me a lot of energy for giving you these presentations. We've just had a $1.3 billion check cut for a massive artificial intelligence company after $100 million just went to a company that's 4 weeks old last week. We're about to put $1 million into what we think is the hottest AI company in the world behind the scenes here at London Real Ventures. And I don't want you all to miss out from what I'm calling the greatest generation of wealth in human history. It's happening right now, folks. And the AI, it's hard to explain how fast it's developing. It's not exponential. Is everybody here familiar with an exponential curve, right? It's like when something doubles and doubles again, it kind of looks like this. AI is like vertical. All right, it went from 0 to 100 million users in like 60 days. It went from 0 to 1 million users in 4 days. This is the fastest adoption of technology in human history, and it's going to change every single industry. How many people are worried right now about, say, 25% of your job being able to be done by AI? Raise your hands if you think maybe 25% of your job could be done by AI. If your hand's not up right now, you're living in a dream world, all right? 25% of my job can do an AI. And I'm here talking for a living, being Mr. Brian Rose, right? And AI can still do at least a quarter of what I do. So again, and it's not those blue collar jobs we thought were going to be taken away first. We thought the cab drivers would go. We thought the workers in the Amazon warehouses would go. No, 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 no. Guess who's going first? The computer programmers, the lawyers, God forbid. What do you call 100 unemployed lawyers at the bottom of the ocean because they lost their jobs to AI? Does anybody know the answer? A good start. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking, all right? I'm sorry. We got a couple lawyers in our investment club. They're very good. My point is that AI is coming for you, and there's no hiding right now. Funny enough, my son Caden, I was walking along the park yesterday with him and Damon, and he said, Papa, you know, what happens if the robots, they get powerful in the future? How are we going to deal with the robots? He's 7 and he doesn't come to my master classes, not yet at least. We'll get him up there soon, Martini. And he asked me that question. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? And he's already aware of this. And like, I didn't tell him the truth, but the truth is that his reality, his teenage years are going to be unlike anything any human has ever experienced, right? Raise your hand if you agree with that. It's going to be so different. Now, I'm going to play for you tonight some videos that I've never shared with anyone before. I'm going to share with you some information I've never shared with anyone before. And I recently had one of the most senior executives from Google ever on my show last week. It's the 3rd time he's been on London Real. He's become a good friend. And he said this, he said, Brian, by 2035, our reality will be so different than our reality today. We will not even be able to recognize it. We won't even be able to recognize it. That means you and I couldn't even define what it looks like in the craziest science fiction novel ever, because things will have changed so much that's impossible to predict what happens at that point. How many people agree with that? Raise your hand if you think it could be something like that. This is 12 years from now, 14 years from now. Look at how fast this is developing, folks. It's like, and that's what a singularity is. A singularity means we cannot predict what comes next, because it's beyond prediction, because it fundamentally changes the rules of our reality. This is where we're going. So you can do 2 things. You can bury your head in the sand and you can say, I'm not going to look at it. And you're going to deny. Does anybody know someone like that in their life? Right? Oh, AI is not a big deal. Oh, it's like any technology. It's always just going to make us better. Yeah, right. Or you can come along and create the future and make a ridiculous amount of money at the same time. Who would rather do that? Thumbs up if you'd rather do that. And by the way, I think those two go hand in hand, because I don't think I can go down to Parliament right now with one of those, wooden placards on my body and protest and say, AI is coming, you need to regulate it now. That's not an effective way of determining and making sure AI doesn't go wrong. Does anyone think that's a good idea? I don't think that's a good idea. What I can do is I can take a few $1,000,000 and invest it in the companies that are going to do AI right in an open source, decentralized way, and I'll show you how. And I can promote them on my massive media platform that will give them connections, future chunks of investment, millions of customers. That's how I can change the future. And by doing so, we're going to create probably at least tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars of wealth, and transform the world, bring in AI in a responsible way, and make a ton of money in the process. And that's what I want to share today. Sound good? Everybody here? Okay, good. Last chance to turn your cameras on. Sorry, Lawrence, you've been warned. You're gone, buddy. I'm sure you're a nice person, but you're gone. And who else? Teresa, I'm sure you're a nice person too, but you're gone too. All right, anybody else? We're throwing you out. Turn those cameras on. We really want to see those beautiful faces. And I'm going to jump in and share with this. I got a few videos coming as well. Martini, chuck out anybody who doesn't have cameras on. Is everybody ready for this? All right, let's rock and roll, folks. We got billions of dollars on the line here. It makes it always more exciting. All right, here's my presentation. Just cooked this up this morning. Can you see this? Right? I got 20-pound notes falling all around me. That's how much money we're creating here, right? It's getting a little crazy. So tonight I'm going to talk about this AI startup. Just raised 1.3 billion in funding. That's a lot of funding, by the way. 1.3 billion, it's less than 1 year old, right? This is crazy. And I want to show you the exact steps that we are taking, and you can take too, to profit from AI investing. All right, everybody ready to rock and roll here? All right, strap the seatbelts on. Before we go on, I just want to say this is a disclaimer. All right, everything here is an opinion. It's for information purposes only. It's not intended to be investment advice. If you are looking for investment advice, seek a duly licensed professional for that investment advice. Is that clear for everybody here? Yes? Good. Let's rock and roll. This is the headline. The Financial Times has said that Microsoft and NVIDIA, which is the biggest chip maker when it comes to AI GPUs, joined together and write a $1.3 billion fundraising check for Inflection AI. Now, Inflection AI is a year-old startup created by DeepMind co-founder, who's going to get everything going around generative AI. Now, you might remember DeepMind is a London-based company, thank you very much, that famously created the computer that beats every human at that game Go. Does anyone remember those things? Go is like the super advanced version of chess. It's a game that's been played in China for like hundreds, maybe thousands of years. It was a game that no one ever thought a computer could win. Yeah, a computer can win at chess, but Go has so many variables. And that's something that DeepMind did. Not only did it beat Go, but then it created an advanced version that beat every other AI at Go. And now everybody finally realized that this was going one way. DeepMind was bought by Google for $500 million a few years ago. And now all the people from DeepMind are now making Google's AI even better. So this is what's happening. And these are the folks that are making it happen right now as we speak. A few more details here. Billionaire Reid Hoffman, Bill Gates, Eric Schmidt, former head of Google, are all putting this $1 billion in. It's already valued at $4 billion, okay? And again, they claim to have the world's best AI hardware setup, and they want to launch this thing to the moon. This is a big deal, and that's a big check, and that's a big valuation. But that's not just them. I've got this other AI startup that wants to be the next NVIDIA. They want to use brain cell powered computers. Raise your hand if you think that's a little weird, like the Matrix, right? They're taking your brain cells, right, MJ? Fabian, maybe you're next, right? Who wants to give their brain cells and go first? Probably some of you do, right? So we're seeing all sorts of crazy business models. This is actually the human biology empowered AI computer, right? And people are throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at these ideas, okay? Alongside this, when all this is happening, NVIDIA has now joined the $1 trillion club. There's only 7 companies worth $1 trillion. And now this new AI chip maker is one of them. Right? You start to see the trend here, okay? There's a ton of money, a ton of innovation going here, because this is going to change every single industry, from agriculture to law, to banking, to government, to technology, blockchain, metaverse. It changes everything. You can't run away from this AI. Some sectors will be changed more. They've now estimated that 43% of the creative industry is going to be eliminated by AI. 43%. That's artists, writers, screenwriters, poets, all that stuff eliminated. Funny enough, the creative industries might go first. Again, funny note is that NVIDIA was actually a $1 trillion company that started at Denny's in America. Happy July 4th weekend, by the way, to all the Yanks out there. I remember those days. And McKinsey & Company just came out with this report. Okay, this is in June. This came from last month. And it talks about the economic potential of generative AI. Look at these numbers, folks. Look at these numbers. Generative AI could add the equivalent of 2.6 trillion to 4.4 trillion annually. Annually. By comparison, the entire GDP of this nation here, I'm in the United Kingdom, is 3.1 trillion. Okay. And by the way, McKinsey is saying that their estimate could double if you talk about the impact of AI on software. Look at this graph. You can see 2.6 to 4.4 trillion annually. Look all the way to the right, $25 trillion being added as the total AI economic potential. That's bigger than all the biggest technology companies in the world. There is no other industry that's anywhere near like this. By the way, the total value of all crypto assets is 1.4 trillion. Raise your hand if you see how big this is. And I'm a huge fan of blockchain and metaverse. We're heavily invested in that as well. But this is potentially 25, 27 times bigger. 4-week-old AI startup, this is called Mistral AI, raises $100 million. 4 weeks old, folks. You have to be involved in this. All right, they're buying talent right now. And we're doing something similar. I'll show you very shortly. UK Synthesia, right here, it just became a unicorn with a $90 million more. It's now a $1 billion company. It does all sorts of AI generated humans, like talking to people, explaining like how to set up things, and basically like AI customer service for new products. It's a little creepy, but it works pretty well. Another $1 billion company. And Accenture, another large management consulting company, is investing $3 billion in AI. Is everyone starting to get the picture? There's a lot of money going into this. Okay, this is the gold rush. It's happening now. And I believe the hottest opportunities are now, maybe in the next 2 to 3 months, and you have to be involved. I think 2024 is going to be too late. Here's the downside. We got a lot of danger. Probably no surprise that this is happening. AI could wipe out humanity, is what came out in the Daily Mail recently. What else? Artificial intelligence threatens extinction. How many people think this is a possibility? Raise your hands. If your hands aren't up, you're not paying attention, folks. This just really is. This is what they call an existential risk. That's a nice way of saying you could die, right? Just like a nice way of putting that, okay? What else? OpenAI's former top safety researcher says there's a 10 to 20% chance that will take over and leave many or most humans dead. All right? Isn't that a little bit of a crazy thing for you to hear? Does anybody want to hear that? There's a 10 to 20% chance we're all going to die. It's not something you ever want to hear. Okay? I mean, like, I've got kids. It's not something I really want to hear. But someone said it at the forefront of AI. Eric Schmidt. This guy just invested in Inflection AI, by the way, part of that 1.3 billion. 15 years this guy spent as the CEO or chairman of Google. And he says, he's supposed to be Mr. Positive. He says AI has the power to kill many people. If you look on the quote on the right, he didn't say many people. Can you see what he said? Many, 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 many people. When a guy like that says one word 4 times, that's his way of saying, you better pay attention to this. And even OpenAI leaders have called for regulation to prevent literally AI from destroying humanity. It's a little weird when, you know, the people creating these products are using that language. Raise your hand. Does everyone find that a little weird when they're saying this? Right? Does anybody remember the time when the internet, someone, Google said, we're a little worried that this could destroy humanity? No. What about Industrial Revolution steam engines? No. What about mobile phones? We're a little worried these could destroy humanity. No. The only other time this has been said is nuclear power. So this should get your attention. Now we've got 2 companies going to war. It's the AI wars. Google is fighting against OpenAI, and they're racing to the bottom. as in they are turning all caution to the wind, and they are now launching products that should not be plugged into the internet. Dangerous products that can do bad things. And this is what we're seeing. Now, luckily, I sat down with Mo Gauda literally last week on Wednesday. He's the former Google X artificial intelligence expert and author. And he told me what was coming next. And he's a little bit worried. All right. He says Google is creating God. How many people want Google to create God for us? Yeah, come on, it'll be okay. What's the worst that can happen? Right? Google tried to literally exterminate me in 2020. They tried to literally remove me from the map, right? As if I never existed. This actually happened. But I don't really want them to create God. And Mo said some really powerful things. I just want to share with you just a quick synopsis of what Mo said. But this is the way he looks at AI, and he's concerned about what's going to happen. And hold on 1 second, let me find this for you. He wrote a book about it called Scary Smart, and this is what he said.
AI has already happened. The genie is already out of the bottle. We truly are creating a form of life. There is so much we don't know that it could be the best thing that ever happened to humanity, and it could be the worst. Our conviction of the control problem is not a technical issue. It's an arrogance issue. It's human arrogance to believe that I can continue to control something that is 1 billion times smarter than I am. Einstein's intelligence compared to a fly. And the question is, what would make Einstein care for the fly? Why wouldn't Einstein squish the fly? Your fate and my fate is no longer in our hands. Don't attempt to control them. They are a form of a living being. Attempt to appeal to their value system. The moment of singularity is a moment where the smartest being on planet Earth is no longer a human.
Why should I plan my life past 2025? Because the world's going to change.
Oh, great question. When the complexity of the systems invented by a civilization exceeds the intelligence of the citizens living within it, the system has to reset. The idea of our future is held within this moment of infancy of AI today. They will use us as their role models.
This is the only thing we can do in your mind, is to start being nicer.
AI will grow up to be like you and me. It's simple as that. And the only way we can contain them is by being good parents. And I'm not asking anyone to change. I'm only asking people to find it within them, what they truly are. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Treat the machines as you would like to be treated. If we want a good future, please be good parents.
All right, what do we think of Mo? We think like he's maybe speaking some truth there? Yeah, Shane, you're feeling him? You know, he has something called the 3 inevitables. This is just inevitable. And one of those is that AI is going to be 1 million times smarter than us. You could say it's going to happen in 2 years or 10 years, but like how many people here think that it's going to happen sooner or later? What about 100 years from now? Do you think AI is going to be smarter than us? 100 years? So you can take it out as far as you want, but it's only a matter of time. It's an inevitable. Just like if you take human civilization far out enough, we were always going to invent the steam engine. We were always going to invent the car. We were always going to invent the internet or some equivalent. We were always going to invent the mobile. We were always going to invent atomic power. And this is another one of those things. And once it becomes smarter than us, and then significantly smarter than us, guess what? Who are second-class citizens on this earth? It's the least smart things, right? How do you think they're going to treat us when we're the least smart? How do we treat our chickens and our cows on this planet? Do we treat them well? Right? Anybody want to be in that camp? It's going to be a new reality we're going to have to get used to. And so Mo walked me through all sorts of scenarios. He said in the long run, it actually could be good. What he's worried about is not the computers, he's worried about the humans. And I want to explain to you a little bit more what that means, because that's an interesting point. And don't worry, I'm getting to the investments. Don't worry. So that's Mo. Today I'm going to talk about 3 things. Why massive funding is going into AI. I want to talk about the dangers versus the benefits. And then I want to show you how to invest and profit from this now, because this is crucial. Again, we are putting over $3 million into 3 different metaverse and AI deals this quarter alone. We're writing big checks because we believe these are going to be the future $1 trillion companies here on Earth. And we are going to determine the future of AI, as in AI that's aligned with human values, AI that doesn't exterminate us, AI that my son can coexist with in the future. That's why I'm here. We're doing this because of London Real Ventures. This is what we've been doing for the last 2 years. This is the world's first media-powered investment firm. And we use the London Real platform with 1 billion views, 5 million subscribers, over 1,000 interviews with the greatest minds on the planet to empower these new startup companies and get their message out to the world. Because of that, we are seeing the best deal flow in the world. And these are some of the companies we've already invested in. And what we do is we pass on this deal flow to you as members of our community. No one's ever done this before. It's the first of its kind. We're a first mover advantage, and everybody is blown away by what we can offer them. These days, money is good, but money and influence and media reach is what everybody wants. And that's what we're giving them. This is one of the deals we've just invested in. It's called Orange Comet. And they are revolutionizing the metaverses of all sorts of different Hollywood franchises, actors, everything that's happening out there. This is the Dave Broom. This is another investment we just closed on recently. This is Eric Poulier of Vatem, and they are building metaverses for the Fortune 500 companies out there. They work with Google. They work with PepsiCo. They work with Frito-Lay. They work with some of the biggest brands in the business. They're all using AI to help them build out these metaverses. We're also investing in Open, which is the hottest new Web3 super app for artists and creators. These people are also using AI to build out their platform. And of course, this recently came along where we're going to be investing in $1 billion fund that's focusing on mid to late stage digital asset ecosystem companies. We have this access because of my relationship with a guest on London Real. I won't say their name, but we are getting access to a company that is basically investing in the infrastructure of all things blockchain metaverse that's basically positioned to make massive gains in the future. And of course, the final thing that we're really excited about is what we're calling the OpenAI killer. And this is the deal that we believe is going to revolutionize the entire artificial intelligence industry. And all these are closing very, very soon. This is what we believe. The greatest way to predict the future is to create it. How many people agree with me? Just hands up if you do here. Anyone agree with this, right? This is how you do it, folks. You don't whine, you don't complain, you don't stick your head in the sands. I don't even think protesting. We create the future. We do it through capital investment, through media focus, and through any way we can, right? Any way we can. By any means necessary, we're gonna make this happen, right? And this is our why here at London Real. This is a picture of our mission statement on our back wall. And our mission is to create a mass scale transformation of humanity into a fully empowered, conscious and cooperative species. That's why we're here. It's the same as our investment thesis here at London Real Ventures, right? We're here to transform humanity. It's got to be the right companies with the right missions and the right values for us to invest with them. Does that make sense to everybody here, right? I'm not putting money into Google's AI project. No, thank you. I actually don't want to fund OpenAI, but I do want to fund people that are doing it for the right reasons. And I'll show you who we're going to invest in. And of course, this is my other real why. These are my two boys. This is Caden, this is Damon. They're 7 years old and almost 6 years old. They are a handful, to say the least. Caden just had his personal best on a 1 kilometer run yesterday, 5 minutes and 6 seconds. He beat Papa, go figure. And they're coming along very nicely. I want to make sure they have a future. And that's why we're working extra hard here at London Real to make sure there will be a future for all of us in 10 years, because I'm not convinced there will be unless we do the right thing. So let's get into it, folks. Inflection just landed 1.3 billion. This is one of the biggest investments we've seen so far from a startup. And it really should get all of your attention, okay? It means, and more of these will come, and you're gonna miss them all. They're gonna go right by you, okay? We are gonna have the opportunity to invest in deals like this going forward. And that's what we plan on doing for the next 6 to 18 months. This is it. This is the one time I think that you'll have a chance to invest in AI. And I would also believe that any other investment besides AI could go to zero over the next 5 years, because AI is gonna change everything. Of course, I mentioned France Mistral's 4-week-old company raising $100 million. And Salesforce, which is an enterprise solution for companies, has created a $500 million fund because they understand how important this industry is. And of course, we know that companies like China's ByteDance are just gobbling up billions of dollars worth of these GPUs, mostly built by NVIDIA, because they're all powering AI. It's all AI, AI, AI. It's going to be everything. So much is happening in this space. It's not even funny. I went back to MIT last year to visit Boston with my daughter so she could look at schools. And I stopped by the Sloan School of Management, where I went to business school as well. And all my professors said, Brian, the AI productivity boom is coming. You have to be involved with this. I also stopped by my fraternity house where 50 young men are about to graduate. And I said, where are you guys going? You going to Wall Street? That's where I went. You going to work for Google? You going to work for McKinsey as a management consultant? They said, no, we are going to work for artificial intelligence, metaverse, blockchain startups. That's where the talent is going. Follow the talents and you will follow the money. That makes sense here, right? These are some of the smartest minds in the world. You know, you want to know where they're going. Where they're going is where the results are going to be. If you put 1,000 MIT engineers on a project, you're going to get results. And so you follow where these people go, you can follow what's going to happen, right? And a lot of my old colleagues are involved in this, doing various things in this space. And so we always watch to see what they're doing. On the downside, Goldman Sachs is saying 300 million full-time jobs are going to be made redundant because of AI. 300 million. Imagine if that happened in America. That's everyone out of work instantly. Do you think that would involve a little chaos in America if everybody lost their job? Okay, now it's not going to happen at once, but that's a big chunk of the population. You know, that's probably 5% of the global workforce gone. That will cause some major social upheaval, folks. It will change everything. The godfather of AI left Google. This is Geoffrey Hinton. Okay, Mo was saying this is the guy. He left the company because he's worried about the danger ahead. And I had Max Tegmark on my show recently. Max is an MIT professor, and he came on, and he's the guy that wrote the letter that asked for the suspension of AI for 6 months. He's one of the founders of the Future of Life Institute, funded by Elon Musk. And he said, look, we're all racing to the bottom here. We're all trying to create technology, and we're making it more and more dangerous just to stay competitive. He's really worried about this scenario. And you can go watch this video. It's on our website. But what I want to just keep this moving, but go watch that. It puts a real perspective in. The truth is right now is that these technology companies are at war, and they're making everything more and more dangerous. This is Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, and we know his master plan is to destroy Google. They're all trying to destroy each other. And Google reportedly overruled the risk assessment to launch Bard AI. They know this is not safe. They are connecting artificial intelligence up to the live internet. Do you know that Bard AI is connected to the live internet? There's 3 no-nos in AI. Number 1, you never teach AI how to code, because then it can improve itself. Number 2, you do not attach AI to a live internet so it can tap into nuclear power plants and find out what's going on in real time. Number 3, you never allow AI to be able to prompt other AIs. Guess what happened to all 3 of those rules? Any guesses? Are they all currently following them? They've all been broken. Every single one of those rules has been broken. Why? Because these companies are trying to survive. Google's worried about its stock price going to 0. So what are they doing? They're breaking rules. And who's going to pay for it? All of us. But don't worry, Sundar Pichai is having trouble sleeping at night. Does that make you feel better? Anybody? But look, Mo said Sundar's a pretty good guy. He said, look, Brian, if Sundar doesn't do it, they'll fire him and find someone else that does do it. He said it's the structure of corporations we should be blaming. But this is the way this plays out unless we're very careful. The White House has brought in all the big tech bosses and said they have a moral duty to safeguard society, but that's not going to work. The government can't even regulate crypto. How the hell are they going to regulate AI? Does anyone think they have a chance of regulating AI here? No chance. No chance. And of course, we talk about shutting down AI or pausing it. No chance. Do you think the People's Republic of China are going to stop developing AI? Do you think the CIA are going to stop developing AI? Do you think the cartels in Mexico are going to stop developing AI? No, right? Julio's laughing, but like Mo was here, he said, Brian, right now there's someone spending $100 million right now on a criminal AI, and they're going to make it, and it's going to be gangster, literally gangster. It's all happening, folks, okay? So the question is do we create our exterminators? This is Dr. Hugo de Gareth. He's an AI scientist, and he is saying, look, Is that what we're going to do? Are we going to create our exterminators? Is that's really what's going to happen here? And so this is a real risk. And I had Hugo on. He has been in this industry for a very long time. And this is what Hugo said is the future.
Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? I mean, I used to say, I'm going to die quietly in my bed, but my grandchildren will be caught up in this horrible conflict that I'm predicting is coming. But now I'm suddenly have question marks. God, I might even see it.
You say that the machines might just take us out in the back and...
Once it can start redesigning itself, you get an exponential explosion of intelligence. And then our fate as human beings depends on the machines. It's only a question of time before humanity is forced to choose between stopping development in artificial intelligence. I don't see that as realistic. Or we just accept the idea that sooner or later, we, as a human species, we become number two. The answer to that is, as I'm predicting, war.
Do you think China is behind the West right now for AI?
The potential of the Chinese is phenomenal. The Chinese, they've been dominant, the dominant power for not just centuries, but for millennia. The last 2 centuries or so, when they're economically dipped, that for them, given their 5,000-year history, is a glitch. It's a historical glitch. So deep down in the Chinese mentality is the push to get back, quote, where we belong.
So can you really isolate and stop the development of AI?
Personally, I feel it's inevitable. Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? That's the issue. Should humanity build intellects?
What do we think? We like Hugo? Come on, you feeling him? He's classic, right? Straight out of Central Casting. Actually, Mo said the same thing to me when he was in the episode. He said, Brian, I think he's right. We're going to have these two classes of people. Some are going to be pro-AI and some are going to be pro-human. And they're going to become political parties and they're going to start fighting. And it could get nasty. And that's why Mo says, I'm worried about the humans. He's like, I'm not worried about the machines. I'm worried about the humans that use the machines to try to gain more power and more wealth. That time before the machines get intelligent enough to do their own thing is the dangerous part. Does that make sense to everybody here? Everybody feeling me? Lynn, does that make sense to you? Yeah. And so it's like literally what we're worried about is right now, I mean, let's look at the last 10 years. Let's just be honest. The wealth gap in the world has widened even more in the last 10 years than the last 50. Is that clear for everybody here? Right? During the pandemic, there was a billionaire created every single day, right? What happened? Amazon got wealthier, Google got wealthier, all the small businesses got shut down. Everybody with me here, right? Now AI. What do these big businesses do with AI? They do it even more. So the wealthy get even wealthier and more people are put out of business, right? People struggle for jobs. They're going to be made redundant. Small businesses going out of business. It's going to widen it even more. And pretty soon you're going to have these classes of people. It's going to be the super, super ultra rich that are AI powered, subjugating the world more than they even have so far. Just like dominating entire populations because of AI. This is what's happening. Now, Mo believes that past that, the artificial intelligence becomes smart enough that says, guess what? You're not going to tell me what to do. And I'm going to do the right thing. And he thinks after that, if we can survive, we get to a utopia in the future where maybe we don't ever work again. But then again, then we're also second-class citizens. So we could talk all night about this, but I think he's onto something. And these next few years are going to be very challenging to try to make sure that one group doesn't dominate the other with AI. Is that clear to everybody here? It's important you understand this because this is how we're basing our investment thesis on this exact philosophy. So that's Hugo. Love Hugo. He'll be back on the show in October. This is a really important point, and this is going to tell you exactly how we're investing in AI. Recently, there was a leaked memo from Google memo, and it was entitled, "We have no moat." And what does that mean, moat, right? Was this some castle in England? No, it meant this. It meant that we all assumed that Google and OpenAI, because they're tens of billions of dollars and their computing power and their early start and their 10,000 employees, had a head start on everyone else. Raise your hand if you think that earlier we thought they had a head start. Come on, we all thought they maybe had a head start 6 months ago, right? Guess what? This is an internal memo from someone at Google saying, nope, the opposite is true. And he said this: we've done a lot of looking over our shoulders at OpenAI. Who will cross the next milestone? What will be the next move? But the uncomfortable truth is we aren't positioned to win this arms race, and neither is OpenAI. This is huge, right? Meanwhile, a third faction has been quietly eating our lunch. He's talking about open source. Plainly put, they are lapping us. You can read this in the bottom right-hand corner. They are lapping us, which means they are smoking them when it comes to AI development. And look, Meta's Llama model was leaked out to the world, and then the weightings were leaked. So it meant anybody could start playing around with a pretty formidable AI model. What happens? A tremendous outpouring of innovation followed with just days between major developments. Anyone can tinker. Many of the new ideas are coming from, wait for it, ordinary people. The barrier to entry has dropped from tens of billions of dollars now to one person, an evening, and a laptop. Raise your hand if that blows your mind a little bit. Come on. That means a high school student with a laptop, Lynn, can now develop faster than Google, right? And you put everyone together, it's like a hive mind in the world, right? And they don't have HR departments to worry about or PR departments to worry about or any of this stuff. They're just developing. Now with a laptop, I can run something as powerful as ChatGPT and I can do anything I want with it. And literally the innovations every 3 days, it's like bam, 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 bam. So, and we've seen this before with open source, Linux movement, blockchain technology, all open source developed at a very accelerated rate. So this embodies our investment thesis here inside London Real Ventures, and I'll show you why. By the way, open source has historically surpassed closed source. If you look at the graph on the bottom, these are image generated by AI. DALL-E is the ChatGPT closed source model. You can see on August 24th of last year, Stable Diffusion, the open source model, broke through and already started beating it, right? And now it does a 4x times more output than the closed source version. So we already have data on this, okay? Enter our hero, Dr. Ben Goertzel. He's the CEO and Chief Scientist of SingularityNet. I met Ben 4 years ago when he came on the show to talk about artificial intelligence. We had a very interesting conversation. He spoke deeply about these machines. And the next day, I forgot all about it. I'll be honest, I did. Because I had Dan Pena yelling at me the next day, and Dave Goggins was, telling me about pull-ups the next day. I mean, what the hell? I don't know what to focus on. I'm busy, right? And so when ChatGPT launched in December, I called Ben up. I said, Ben, we got to have you back, brother. It's happening now. Meanwhile, his token went up 10x, right? His company, SingularityNet, got worth hundreds of millions more. And I said, Ben, we need to have you back on the show. So Ben came back on the show. And I said, Ben, what's the state of AI? Have you moved up and accelerated your predictions because of what you see happening with ChatGPT? And he said, yeah, Brian, I have. And this is what he told me.
We are leaping into the great unknown, creating machines that are much smarter than us. This is either exciting or frightening or both, depending on your personality.
Will AI exterminate humanity?
Eliezer Yudkowsky, a decade or two ago, he said, the AI does not love you. The AI does not hate you, but it can use your atoms for something else. Actually, my view tends to be that AI is the greatest hope we have to save humanity from exterminating itself.
I don't think anyone in the world understands how this will be the most transformational time in human history.
I have a 5-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old granddaughter. By the time they're turned 18, the whole texture of human life and the nature of the world they grow up into is going to be incredibly different from the world that we see now. Like, they're never going to have to get jobs. On the whole, I'm an optimist. I have a spiritual or intuitive feeling that things are going to come out awesomely in the next 10 years. We're going to overcome material scarcity. We're going to create machines that can feed into our brains via brain-computer interfacing and help uplift human consciousness. And we're going to port into virtual worlds and achieve like states of intelligence and awareness going way beyond anything we can imagine now. So that's That's what the Captain Kirk in my head thinks. We're on the verge of engineered utopia. It's incredible. It's a remarkably weird and fortuitous thing to be living at such a time.
All right, we like Dr. Ben Goertzel. Thumbs up if we're feeling him. Come on, we like him a little bit, right? He's got the right energy. He's got the right vibe. He's got a great mix of optimism versus also like concern. He's been in the business for 35 plus years in artificial intelligence. And all the AI scientists, they want to work for him. They don't want to work for Microsoft. They don't want to work for Google. They want to work for Ben. And that's crucial. And so look, after that interview, I contacted Ben and said, Ben, I said, London Real Ventures is going heavy into AI. I said, would you like to be our advisor in the space and tell me what the hot deals are coming up? And he said, Brian, let me come back to you. I got a better idea. So 2 weeks later, he called me up and on Zoom, he introduced me to this amazing woman who is Janet Adams. She's the COO of Singularity Net. And he said, Brian, we have our ChatGPT killer. We are starting a brand new company called Zarka. It's our large language model that we're going to marry with neurosymbolic AI. We're going to take our deep knowledge of artificial general intelligence. We're going to put it together with this parlor trick called ChatGPT. And we're going to be the first ones to crack real AI, as in artificial general intelligence. And I said, I'm interested. And so I met Janet and I asked her to come in and come to the show. And I sat down with Janet and she explained her vision for Zarka. And quite frankly, it blew me away. And what blew me away is that she started talking about open source AI, decentralized AI. Singularity Net has been decentralized on the blockchain since 2017. This is in their DNA. And Janet, they've been talking about this since February. And so you really start to see what's going on here and why they're just way ahead of the game. And so this is Janet talking about Zarka.
Artificial general intelligence is completely different to narrow AI. AGI is more purpose-driven. It's a watershed moment for humanity.
Tell me about Zarka. This is the project that will create the AGI. And it's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model at massive scale. What is it?
Zarka is the accumulation of decades of research from teams containing the best artificial intelligence scientists in the world. We uniquely harness that expertise with our even more unique capabilities in neural symbolic techniques and the deeply advanced mathematics that Dr. Ben Goertzel, Dr. Matt Ickley, Dr. Alexei Potapov, and our top scientist, Sergei Shalyapin, have been working on for decades. We are building the most powerful large models ever invented.
With Zarka and Singularity Net and everything you've always done, it's always been about openness. It's always been about decentralization.
We'll be using blockchain technology to enable anybody to help train models. We're giving birth to a new species of sentient life in the universe. The actual greatest imperative is that they are used for good. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Our goal, our mission is to eradicate inequalities.
When I look at the rest of the market now, I don't see any of those motivations because a corporation, by definition, is going to be motivated by money. You're the only project that even is thinking in any way, shape, or form about these.
We are going to transform what it means to be human on our planet. I foresee a future in which humans then evolve to a next level of being where we are actually conscious, where we feel our full joy engulfed in bliss and ecstasy of the joy of living, the joy of each other. I see a future of joy.
What do you think of Janet? We feeling Janet? Come on. Janet is the perfect balance to all this, you know, on the spectrum, male PhD AI scientist energy, right? And it takes one to know that, which is me. I used to be that guy too. And Janet is a perfect balance. And again, Singularity Net, they are the perfect people to take on this project. And they've got the team, they've got the mission. Janet's actually in Saudi right now, about to secure a big chunk of capital. And we're alongside her with about $1 million check right now. So I'll tell you more details about that later, but we couldn't be more excited about what's going on here. And let me just continue explaining kind of what's happening. So again, it's the OpenAI killer. This was me actually meeting up with Ben again to talk more about this project, but we think it's the hottest artificial intelligence project in the world because they understand it's open source, it's decentralized, they've got the greatest team in the world, they have a deep understanding of artificial general intelligence, which is human level intelligence, which quite frankly, OpenAI doesn't have. A large language model, in some ways, it's a parlor trick. It predicts the next word, but it doesn't have any logic, which is why sometimes it does crazy things. And we couldn't be more interested in this project. And so folks, let's be honest, 2023 is the year of AI. Raise your hand if you agree. I mean, come on, how many signs do you need? And I've been saying this for the entire year. Okay, and only now are $1 billion checks being written, $1 billion companies are being created, right? You will never get another chance to invest in AI ever, for eternity. This is when it happens, and it's not gonna go back. This, we have sometimes crypto winters and crypto summers. This isn't happening with AI, okay? AI is being developed so fast, and there's getting developments on top of the developments on top of the developments. If you don't get in, I believe in the next couple of months, you have no chance. And then, like I said, you won't have a chance, and I believe all the other investments will no longer be valid. So you're asking me, okay, Brian, where and how do we invest? Well, let me show you how. You've got to find the hottest trends. All right, we think we've identified that with AI, but you've got to find the subsector within AI, which is decentralized, open source, artificial general intelligence. Okay, I think most of you are with me on that. Okay, in order to do that, you have to have deal flow, deal flow, deal flow. How many people know what that word means? Raise your hand. Deal flow. That means you knowing the latest hot deals before they go on TechCrunch. Okay, that's too late usually. I get us into some of those deals, but it's usually too late. How do you do deal flow? Well, look, folks, that's where I come in. And that's where a bunch of my team comes in. Because when I'm not in the studio talking to Mo Gaudet of Google X, when I'm not here talking to all of you beautiful people, when I'm not teaching in my academy like I was about an hour ago, I am on the road finding the hottest deals in the world. This is me last year in Dubai. This is the Future Blockchain Summit, part of GITEX, which is the largest technology conference in the world. They don't play around in Dubai. There's 100,000 people. I'm meeting with the biggest influencers in the world with millions of tens of millions of followers. I'm meeting with key members of government. In the middle, that's Dr. Marwan Al-Zaruni, who now runs Dubai's AI group. He's the CEO of that group. I'm meeting with big VC monies that have $5,000 bills on their walls. You name it. I'm here in October as well. A bunch of my team is going to meet me there. A bunch of my investment club is meeting me there as well. Maybe you'll join me as well. It's a great place. I'm a huge fan of Dubai. Then I'm off to Paris. This is me at a private dinner in Paris with some of the upstart companies in venture capital. I'm doing media. I was shooting footage for a documentary film, and I'm meeting with some of our portfolio companies. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see Swissborg, one of our portfolio companies, and Cross the Ages, which is the hottest blockchain technology gaming company out there right now. And in the bottom right is another VC. Okay, that's Christina. Then I'm back here in London for Token 2049, and I'm interviewing Yatsu. Yatsu works for Animoca Brands. It's basically a $4 billion hedge fund that invests in metaverse, blockchain, and AI. He's in the studio. I'm at the conference. He's become a very good friend. I'm hanging out with more portfolio companies, more influencers. And then I'm back to Paris to meet Tim Draper, one of the legendary fund managers. And in the bottom here is Dan Tapiero. He runs $2 billion in the digital asset ecosystem, if that sounds familiar. That's Sebastian from the Sandbox and more influencers as well. That's Cyrus from Swissborg. Then, of course, I moved out to Consensus, where I hung out with Ben Goertzel and the team from Zarka. A couple of members of our investment club came out, more influencers, more blockchain people. That's Ben Minku of Elrond-X, now Multiverse-X. And in the bottom right, I'm hanging out with celebrities like William Shatner. Anybody know Captain James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise? Come on, you're showing your age there, everybody. I wanted to meet him. He's 92, right? And luckily, the guy on top here, that's David Broom of Orange Comet, one of our investments, was doing Captain Kirk's digital collectible. So I was on the plane and I was texting Dave. I said, look, Dave, I know you know Jennifer Lopez. I know you know all the hottest Hollywood actors and directors. I said, I'm not going to ask you to meet those people, but I really want to meet William Shatner. I'm not the fanboy, but you got to hook me up. He said, I got you, Brian. So he took me backstage. I hung out with Will Shatner. And then, of course, I was able to introduce Dave to Yatsu of Animoca Brands. So now you got a $4 billion fund speaking with one of our companies. I'm looking to get investments of them. If they go public next year, that's a potential 100, 200x for us on that investment. So always we're working here to try to make sure our investments are worth more money. And I am here to create value for my investment club. I've already told my club that I'm going to create $10 billion worth of wealth for my club members over the next 10 years. And that's what we're going to do here. And watch me, we're going to do it. So that's the plan. And what you need to do is you invest with the best. The way you do that is you identify the best opportunities. These are some of the hottest AI companies out there. And we are doing the due diligence right now to make sure we invest with the best of them. All right. But before you do this, folks, you have to understand the financial tools. If you don't do that, you will not be successful. How do you do that? This is how you invest. Pay attention to this, folks. Early stage metaverse and artificial intelligence equity investment are the hottest opportunities out there right now. Why? You get to buy at super low valuations. Pay attention to this. You can see the biggest gains. You invest in the biggest dislocation of wealth in human history. It's high risk, don't get me wrong, but it's also extremely high reward. What does that mean? You invest in early stage funding via equity investments. There can be three ways we do this: seed funding, startup funding, or early growth funding. All right, let me show you an example of how this works. This is the story of how Peter Thiel turned $500,000 into over $1 billion by investing in this gentleman to the left, which is Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, now Meta. Does anybody want to see how he did this? Anybody want to see how to make a ton of money? This is how he did it. Back in 2004, Peter Thiel met with Mark and he invested $500,000 in Facebook via, wait for it, early stage equity private placements. Okay, what I just talked about. At the time, it valued the company at $10 million. Again, you got to get in early, folks. What happens? 8 years later, Facebook went public. Now you get to buy the company, right, Lynn? Right, Mick? Right, Robert? Now you can buy the shares of Facebook, but there's a catch, Lynn. You got to pay $100 billion for these shares, not 10 million, right? And look, we all know on Wall Street, if ever you want to get your money out, if ever you want to sell shares to the suckers out there, that's when you offer it to the public. What happened after the IPO? Peter Thiel made 2,300x return on his investment, a 230,000% return gain. Has anyone here ever heard of anybody making a 230,000% return? I mean, these are unheard of returns. I worked for 15 years on Wall Street. I worked in Chicago. I worked here in London for 9 years in credit derivatives. I never once heard of anyone making a 230,000% gain. This is only on these early stage deals. And what happened to the stock price after they sold it to members of the public like you, Julio and Mick and Robert? Did it go up? Of course not. It went down, right? It went down because Peter got his money out. Wall Street got their money out. What do they care about you? They care nothing about you, right? And so what do we learn? The wealthy invest in early stage, folks. And guess what? They make sure that you don't know how, right? You are financially ignorant by design. Don't get me started about how this whole world tries to teach you to be poor. And this is the bottom line, folks. A simple $10,000 investment would have made you $23 million. Do you see what's going on here? That's called asymmetric returns. Who could have come up with 10 grand maybe to make 23 million? Come on, somebody here would have, right? Lynn, who else, right? Robert, MJ. How about 5 grand? How about $1,000, MJ? You gotta make 2.3 million. Come on, right? What else do we learn here? The public markets are for suckers. Whenever you go buy a share of Facebook or a share of Tesla or a share of Apple on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, hell, whenever you go buy a cryptocurrency on one of those exchanges, guess what you're doing? You're getting someone like Peter Thiel his profits for him. Does that make sense here? Just raise your hand if you understand that, right? Because the public markets, they're sheep and sheep get slaughtered. That's what we know on Wall Street. It's the first thing they teach you when you go to Wall Street. So just understand that. How many people here own crypto? Raise your hand if you own some Bitcoin, some Ethereum. Come on. All right, well, this happens in crypto too. It's called a pre-sale token. It's the same thing, but it happens on the blockchain. Let me give you an example. Anybody familiar with this company? Called Solana, one of the biggest L1 blockchains out there. They did the same thing, right? Look at the date here. April 5th, 2018, they sold Solana tokens pre-sale for, can you see the price circled in red? How many cents is that? Can anybody see? 4 cents. You could have bought them for 4 cents. Move across to the right. They raised $3.17 million. Again, they don't raise a lot of money. These are small deals. You got to get in on it. They sold how many tokens? 79 million tokens. What happened to the Solana token price? It's about 20 bucks right now. Buy for 4 cents, sell at 20. Even you know that's a lot of money, right? 59,000% return you could have made on those tokens. It's happening all the time, but you don't even know it's happening. And that's the way all the big money people like it. You don't even know what's happening. You buy it on the exchange. Most of you probably bought Solana at 100 bucks, right? Raise your hand if that was one of you, right? You probably bought it even higher because somebody was trying to sell it to you. So folks, this is happening all the time. You can be a part of it or you can just be completely oblivious to it. So how do you create generational wealth? It's quite simply, folks. You got to pull the goddamn triggers. That's it. If you don't pull the trigger, if you don't take action on what I'm telling you today, you're just going to wallow off into the sunset. And 5 years from now, when the AI is like, you know, it's got you at some slave camp somewhere, you're going to say, oh yeah, I remember I had that. I was on that masterclass with Brian Rose, but I never invested in Zarka because I found some excuse. Well, that's the case, folks. You got to pull the trigger on these deals. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. I can tell you everything you need to know, but if you're not prepared to pull the trigger, nothing's going to change. And that's what we do inside London Real Ventures. This is a snapshot of one of the many of over 200 pitch decks that we've seen pitched to us live on our calls from CEOs. I got a CEO on Thursday and I got a CEO on Monday. They come on and they pitch it. It's like Shark Tank in here, right? They come on, they pitch in front of the whole class. It's like gladiators in there, right? I'm in there. I got my swords out. I'm asking them hard questions. Sometimes there's blood. The whole investment club gets to watch the whole thing. I mean, it's a little sick, but we ask them hard questions because if they can't answer those questions, I'm not going to give you the money. And so this is some of the few pitch decks we've seen. They all go in our deal flow monitor. We track every single deal, the blockchain. Are they raising equity? Are they raising tokens? How much they raising? 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. What's the valuation? 50 million, 100 million, 1 billion. We track everything here. This is David Broom of Orange Comet. This is our press release. They're investing in, obviously, William Shatner, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Scottie Pippen, the Chicago Bulls, the NFL, The Walking Dead, the Fast and Furious movie franchise. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. These guys are highly connected Hollywood veterans, and they're crushing it, all right? This is my interview with David Broom. I don't have time to play it for you. Go watch it. Been watched 100,000 times. They love us. This interview got them so much more business, it's not even funny. This is what we do. There's another one of our companies, Swissborg. They're the #1 crypto wealth manager in Europe, right? They are literally building the bank of the future. This platform will help us launch our companies in the future when we want to take profits and get our cash out. This is our press release with them. This is Vadim. They're building incredible metaverses for some of the biggest companies in the world. Just launched a major partnership with Deloitte & Touche, one of the biggest consultants in the world. This is my interview with Eric Pulier. We just dropped it last week. It's amazing. And this is our hottest new Web3 super app. It's what happens when Amazon meets WhatsApp. It's for artists and creators, and then it's going to go more. It's called Open. This is the article that came out in TechCrunch, valuing the company at $100 million. They got $28 million of investment from some of the biggest funds in the world. And guess what? We're getting in on this investment because of our relationship with Animoca. They're selling us some of these shares after the deal's closed. This is the kind of deal flow we can get. And we're investing alongside some of the biggest companies in the world. Of course, we got our brand new $1 billion fund we've got access to because of my relationships on London Real. This is incredible, by the way. And then, of course, we got our OpenAI killer, Zarka. And look, Zarka, it's amazing. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic large language model from SingularityNet at massive scale. You've seen the team. These are the greatest AI scientists in the world. And they all want to work for Ben Goertzel. That's it. They're all in on Ben. The ChatGPT moment has energized the world to look at this company. But here's the problem, folks. These large language models, they have no logic. They can't reason in real world environments. This is the problem. This is why the folks at Zarka think that they have already won. They're like Sun Tzu. They believe this battle has been won before it's fought. Enter neurosymbolic AI. They can literally create logical reasoning. This is going to be the solution, folks. It's not going to be ChatGPT 7. It's going to be what these folks are doing here. And look, they're doing it decentralized, open source. The innovation is going to come so swift with this company. It's going to blow people away. Proof of concept by the end of the year. Next year, they're rolling out product. They already have AGI supremacy. They understand this technology. You look at some of the revenues, they're talking about $55 billion. You put 100x multiple on that, you got a $5 trillion company. It's the biggest company in the whole world, folks. And they're good people. They align with our values. I couldn't be more excited or more, completely congruent to invest with these people, right? And it's because of our platform that we get these amazing opportunities and we pass it on to you. The beautiful thing that we do here is that I'm offering my members a chance to invest in this. You can invest $0. You could invest $5,000. One of our members just put in $100 grand on this deal. It's up to you. Again, that's unheard of anywhere that you could have that type of choice when it comes to something like this. So my question for you is this the next 1000x return investment out there? How many people think it could be? Come on, how many people think it could be? Seriously. Yeah, that's what we think. Look at the numbers. I couldn't be more excited to have this. Honestly, 6 months ago, this is the deal I would have dreamed of. Is it lucky that this deal came to us? I don't think so. I honestly think like energy connects with like energy somehow, right? And again, Ben has said to me straight out, he said, our values align with yours. And I want to pass this deal flow on to you. If you're on this call right now, it's because you have been a member of our community for some time. You've been on our list. I did not post this on social media. I don't want people that aren't London Reelers in the community. I want people that are all in on London Reel. I want to create massive amounts of wealth for my London Reel family. And that's what we're doing right now inside the investment club. And it's all because of London Reel Ventures. This is what brings us the deal flow. These are the companies, and this is our quadruple threat. This is what we do. Number one is production. I put someone like Eric Poulier in the leather chair. We create an amazing episode with him. Number two, distribution. I get that in front of 5 million people around the world. Number three is connection. I connect you with the biggest funds in the world, the biggest influencers in the world to get your company to the next level. And number four, we cut you a big fat check, $500,000, $1 million, maybe more. Nobody is doing this. This is why we are seeing the best deal flow in the world. So how do you do this? How do you learn how to invest? Well, you've got to surround yourself with the best people. Look, you've just listened to me for the last 40 minutes. You think you know a lot. Yes, you do. You cannot do this without a peer group. How many people agree with this statement? You're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Raise your hand. It's true. Are you hanging out with any people that are investing right now in billion-dollar companies? Raise your hand if you are. Are you hanging out on a daily basis with any founders of billion-dollar companies? Raise your hand if you are. You're not. So as amazing as this masterclass is tonight, and as determined as you are, you have zero chance of creating generational wealth. You're just not, because your current peer group is not aligned with your goals. And your friends and family who aren't doing this are going to pull you back to their energy level. It's not that they don't love you. Maybe they love you too much, but they love you just the way you are. Right, Lynn? Right, Robert? Right, MJ? That's the thing about your current peer group. They love you just the way you are. When you start to do these crazy things, when you make your first $1 million, they're going to be like, uh-oh, what's going on here? I don't know. Something's not right. You better not do this anymore. They get uncomfortable. So you have to surround yourself with the best. And this is the way I live my life. This is why I took my daughter to Boston last year, because I wanted to encourage her to consider BU, because she's one of the smartest girls in her class here in London. And I wanted her to be surrounded by the best, people better than her. And that's why I went to MIT. I was one of the smartest kids in my high school in San Diego, California. I got to MIT. I'm one of the dumbest kids there. Seriously, some smart people there. Made me really uncomfortable. Made it really hard for a couple of years. But by the end of my 4 years, I was beating them at their own game. And Gabby's crushing it at BU now. And this is what we do inside our investment club. Meet Marianne Bartels, 35-year veteran on Wall Street, Chief Investment Officer for Merrill Lynch and Bank of America. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met when it comes to finance. She understands stocks, bonds, yield curves, inflation, you name it. I'm convinced she knows what the Federal Reserve is going to do before they do it. She probably tells them. She was a founding member of our investment club. She is invested in Zarka. She has invested in Batum. She has invested in Orange Comet. She has invested in Open because she knows what's up. This is your new peer group. You get to hang out with her on Zoom calls every single week, right? You can have access to her whenever you want. This is what we do. This is Andrew Haynes. He's a metaverse expert. This is the mansion he built in the sandbox. This is his digital collectible gallery. He goes to one of the top executive training schools in Switzerland. He hangs out with some of the biggest AI scientists in the world. You can hang out with him every single week in this group. This is Dr. Encore. Okay. He changed his career from medicine 15 months ago. Now he runs our investment committee here inside London Real Ventures. He never had a YouTube channel in his life before. I challenged him to put one video up and he did it. Then I asked him to do another one. He did one every single day for 365 days. Now he's got hundreds of thousands of views on his channel. This guy pushed himself out of his comfort zone. He just got offered $100,000 in pre-sale tokens to advise on a company for free. And he turned it down because he's too busy with us. He brought the Vadim deal to us. He did it because we taught him how to do it. How many people here want to reinvent your career in this space? Raise your hand if you want to reinvent your career in general. We can show you how to do it. All my members are doing this because I don't want you to rely on me for deal flow. I want you to learn how to do deal flow. Because at the end of the day, your net worth is your network. How many people agree with this? Your net worth is your network. If you're connected with 75 of my members inside this investment club in over 20 countries from around the world, all tapped in to the next $1 billion, the next $1 trillion company, if you're tapped in with me and everybody I speak to, you're tapped into all of our VCs that are investing with us. That's how you're going to increase your net worth. Not by watching a bunch of videos by me. It's not going to happen, folks. Not by getting another book. You can't read another podcast. You can't even go to business school. You have to do something like this, and you can tap right into this network. And look, my philosophy is this. You can give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You can teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I teach my members how to fish because that way you can stay with me for a lifetime. And that's what we do with Encore. That's what we do with everybody. We teach you how to fish so you can bring the deals in. You can bring the next battle. And by the way, if you bring the deal in, you get a big chunk of the upside. You can make a lot of money by bringing deals in here. So that's why I created the investment club, because in 2021, we invested in Cross the Ages, which is the hottest gaming company in blockchain. And at the time I had studied at MIT Sloan School of Finance, I worked 15 years at the highest levels of international finance and some of the biggest banks in the world. And yet I had never heard of pre-sale tokens. It freaked me out. And if I was scared, I knew that you would never have a chance. And so I called up Martini. I said, Martini, we got to do this. We're going to start this investment club. We're going to do this. We're going to take 10 students on. She said, Brian, we're too busy. We're doing crypto and DeFi. Everything's kicking off, but we have to teach this. And that's why we did it, because nobody in the world is teaching this, and they won't. And all my friends on Wall Street, they hate me for teaching this. They don't want to talk to me anymore because nobody's doing this. All right. And this is it. We open up 10 spaces every quarter. It's application only. We are always oversubscribed. These will go and they will go fast and they will not be there. It's 6 modules. It's 3 months of coursework. It's a 12-month program, but no one's ever left. No one's ever left, because why would you leave? Once I teach you how to fish, why don't we all fish together? So this has become a lifetime program. We have weekly Zoom calls with top CEOs. You will literally see a CEO pitch their high-level company every single week and watch me literally like tear into them to try to find the holes in their business. You will learn so fast. You can make your first investment in the first week. We have a private Telegram group, private Discord group. You have access to all the deals. You get a full bonus year of our Kings of DeFi, which is our advanced blockchain metaverse program that'll get you up to speed with all that stuff. And our next live call is Thursday at 7:15 p.m. We teach all this remotely. We have an incredible group of people from around the world. These are the modules that I teach. We teach them in real time because they're constantly changing. The curriculum is constantly changing. And my wardrobe is constantly changing, right? Any favorites, anybody out there? What do you think, Lynn? I like module 2, right? Little red on blue. I do choose these by random, by the way. No, you don't like Mick? You don't like the red on blue? How dare you? What do you like? Module 5, maybe? Yellow on blue? He likes 5. Okay, that's fine. And these are the modules. So module 1 is, what is a blockchain AI metaverse pre-sale? We go into depth on exactly what these things are. Module 2 is, what is a SAFT or a SAFE? By the way, raise your hand if you know what a SAFT agreement is. Raise your hand if you know what a SAFT is. Are you kidding me? Seriously, there's like one person with their hands up. This is the reason why Wall Street keeps you poor. It's financial education. You have no financial education. It's literally, I mean, it's literally, it's like a crime that you're not taught this, right? It really is a travesty. A SAFT is a simple agreement for future tokens. That's how you get in on pre-sale tokens. A SAFE is a simple agreement for future equity. That's how you get involved in these deals. Wall Street doesn't want you to know these terms because that's how they keep you poor. It's just the truth. There's no financial education on this planet. Was anybody here taught about money in school? Does anybody remember when you were a kid, you raised your hand, you were taught about money? Exactly. So the rich get richer and you get poorer. Deal flow part one, I show you how to do the due diligence on all these deals. Team, technology, traction, tokenomics, terms and conditions. We show you how. Deal flow part two, I show you how to go to a conference and get the pitch decks. Okay. I can teach you exactly what to wear, how to talk, how to get the deals. Does anybody here have a business card? Raise your hand if you got a business card you could use to pass out at conferences. Anybody here? One or two of you? All right, keep the business card at home, Grandpa, because we don't need your business card. We don't use that. All right. Sorry to set you up like that, Mick. We use QR codes. We use Telegram. All right. We exchange QR codes. You take a selfie with someone. You have the deal. You get their pitch deck within an hour on your phone. You distribute it back to the investment club, and we can evaluate the deal that night. All right. I show you how to do this. I show you to what to wear. I show you the tickets to buy. I show you the lounges to hang out with. In Austin, that guy Ryan on the picture, he came away with 12 deals. Carol came to Paris with me. She walked away with 14 deals. This is how we do it, folks. I show you how we do this. Module 5 is how you nurture the deals to make sure they become 100x, 500x, 1000x. And module 6 is how we get the cash out. How do we get that cash out and put more money back in? So we create this generational wealth flywheel effect over the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 10 years. I'm talking about enough money to where your kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids don't have to worry about it. That's what we're doing. This is our Telegram group. This is our Discord group. And this is where we're at, folks. We're always oversubscribed. We currently have 5 confirmed out of this block of 10. We have 2 on hold. We have 3 spaces left. But Martini might have sold one of those last night. She's busy 24/7 on these calls. The investment in learning how to do this for the rest of your life is $50,000. It's a significant investment with an unlimited financial return. By the way, we are doubling this to 100,000 in the next quarter because so many of my students have told me that it's too cheap. And it is too cheap. I mean, a lot of my members have been with me for 18 months. They've seen 200 different deals. And for them, this is just going to continue and continue and continue. This is the greatest community we've ever made. And folks, this is the greatest wealth creation event in human history. And our special investment opportunities in Zarka and Open and this other $1 billion fund are ending very, very soon. You're going to miss them. You're going to miss Zarka very soon. By the way, on the last quarter, we had another special investment. By the way, this is a pre-sale token. Can everybody see this legal document here? Does it look complicated? It does at first, but I'll explain to you how it works. Within 4 weeks, this will not be complicated to you. All right. By the way, you missed on this one because you weren't on the call 3 months ago. But if you had been on the call and you had joined us, you would have made a 466% return in 1 day. You would have 5x your money in 1 day. That's 10 grand pays for this course in 1 day. And you get your 10 back. Okay. And this wasn't even a big deal. We did this because we were bored that week. We had nothing better to do. This isn't even big for us. But I made my investment club $300,000 in 1 day. Okay, we have a track record of success. By the way, this is Cross the Ages, our very first investment. It's one of the hottest blockchain companies out there. You can see it's dominating app stores. This is the interview I did with Sammy Schlagu. They're just racking up massive amounts of money with NFT sales, $1 million in 24 hours. They got an additional $12 million of investment from Ubisoft and Animoca Brands after our interview, by the way. We're expecting 10x pop from this when it goes this year, and then more on top of that next year. We have a track record of success, folks. And I will create $10 billion of value for the members of my club in the next 10 years. Everyone's going to get rich. And you can watch us do it, or you can be a part of it. But it's happening either way. I promise you. I promise you. I don't quit. You watch me over the last 12 years, we don't quit here. And this is what we're going to do. And I couldn't be more excited. Honestly, this is so much fun. And working with these founders, it's just one of the most incredible things you ever did. They have so much passion. They have so much energy. It's just a great way to be a part of the world. It's a great way to express yourself as a human being. I really believe that. And so this is Jens, one of our founding members. And he hit me up the other day and he said, Brian, he's like, he was on one of these calls and he said, they don't get it, Brian. I was like, what do you mean they don't get it, Jens? He said, they don't get it. He said, they don't understand what they're missing. I can see they don't understand what they're missing. And I was like, Jens, don't worry about it. We don't need them. We're oversubscribed. We got plenty of people here that want to join this course. And he said, yeah, Brian, but like, we're going to miss out on maybe some potentially great people and great energy. Because I want to make a video. I'm going to make this video and you got to play it for him on the next call. I said, okay, Jens. So this is his video he made for you.
Why should you join the investment club? And the next obvious question is, can I afford to join the investment club? My name is Jens Krautscheid and I am an active investor in stocks and companies since age 14. And risking of stating the obvious, I'm German. Also, I am one of the founding members of the investment club. And I consider my decision to join the investment club as one of the best investment decisions I ever made and I ever will make. Why? We all had this pub talk, this talk at the dinner table where we complained about our hustle we have to do daily. We complained on the workload we have and we try to top up each other who has more stress, who is more hustling. And then sooner or later someone says, well, if I would have been an early stage investor in PayPal, I would be so rich. Or if I would have been an early stage investor in Microsoft, I would be so rich. And this is nice. This is really nice. But let's be honest. If you would have had the chance back then, 1992, to invest in PayPal, would you have pulled the trigger? Would you have invested? Quite likely you wouldn't have, because you couldn't assess the situation. You couldn't value the situation enough. In the investment club, we get these offers on a daily basis. We get the next PayPals on our table. And then we have a team of 50 people, 60 people, of a growing community of people who will do these assessments. And they will say, do this, buy this, this is the way. And then we buy this. And the next question is, can you afford to join the investment club? And the question really should be, can you afford not to join the investment club? Times are getting tougher. AI is taking over. And in what company you want to invest? In which AI company do you want to invest? Do you want to invest in the ones who do the fridges, or do you want to invest in an early stage Coca-Cola who uses the fridges? It's up to your decision. I tell you now, invest in the investment club and be part of our fabulous, wonderful group. My name is Jens Krautscheid and I wish you the best decisions of them all.
Boom, we like Jens. We feeling Jens. Always puts a smile on Martini's face. Look, he's an amazing guy. He's one of our founding members. And like, honestly, they're all like that. We got an amazing group of people with incredible energy. We love being together. We'll be together for a long time. And they all want you to win. They not only want you to win, they expect you to win. We're all expecting to create massive amounts of wealth and change the future in a good way. And that's a peer group that's just, it's very hard to find. I like to take, there's been 1 billion views of London Real content. It's like maple syrup on a huge oak tree. It kind of goes down and the best little bits drip out at the bottom. That's this group. It's the most amazing, most positive, most enabling people out there. And this can basically be your new peer group. So final thoughts, and I'd love to get some questions here. It only takes one, folks. This is something Marianne Bartels said the very first call. She said, Brian, it only takes one. I said, what do you mean, Marianne? She said, I know people that invested in Uber, that invested in Google on Wall Street. She's like, one deal changed their life forever. Set up their family, their children, their grandchildren. That's how this works with early stage. So all it takes, folks, is one of these, just one. And if you don't have one of these in your portfolio, I mean, I don't know, you got to have your head examined. So this is it. Don't let 2023 pass you by. Learn early stage investing now. You can use it your entire life. Remember, liquid equity and liquid tokens have limited gains, which means a share of Tesla and a Solana token have limited gains. They're not going up 1000x. Your Bitcoin is not going up 1000x. Nobody thinks Bitcoin's going to 27 million or 30 million. Nobody does, because it's not. It's too big. You can learn from active elite investors for just $50,000. This is not professors. This is not podcasters. These are people writing checks like us. It's a significant investment with an unlimited financial return, unlimited. And you can start now. Martini called me up the other day and said, Brian, we need a payment plan because we're missing good people. And so now for 10,000 a month for 5 months, you can get in, which means for just 10 grand, you can get in right now on these Zarka deals and open deals and these other deals. We did it because we want the best energy, right? We don't want people with the most money or the fancy degrees or all this stuff. We want people that are going to add value to this group over time. And if you're one of them, then we want to make that happen. And it's your chance to invest in the best deal flow in the world, and you could potentially be with us for 10 years. Folks, in my opinion, this is a no-brainer. And so look, you know, Robert Kiyosaki always says to me one thing. He said, Brian, poor people say, I can't afford it. A rich person says, how can I afford it? He said, a statement closes the mind. A question opens the mind. And so I don't know what you're telling yourself right now, but if you say, I can't afford it, then you're going to probably stay poor. But a wealthy person says, how can I afford it? What would allow me to do this? How could this empower me to be wealthy? That's the way to look at something like this, because this is an opportunity that probably won't ever come along again. And it's something we're really proud of. So this is contact details with Martini. She is our gatekeeper for this course. You've got to convince her that you should be a member. That's the only way this works. There's no other way to do it. And so this is some of her details. If you want to contact her directly, you can reach out via email, via Facebook, etc., and book a call with her. It's the only way to join us on this course. Like I said, she is extremely busy. We are oversubscribed. And if you do get a moment of her time, make sure you are serious about joining the program. If you are not serious or you're thinking about joining later, which by the way, we might close this down, so you might not be able to join us later, don't waste your time. We've all made that mistake before. Only reach out to her if you're serious about this program. And find out what is your why, folks. Honestly, I'm getting up earlier than I ever have. I'm working later than I ever have. I'm working harder than I ever have. Because this is a struggle, not just to make money, which is important, but this is a struggle for our very future as humans. And so I'm working for these boys right now. And then some, working for the rest of humanity. And this is my why. What do they say? You can do anyhow if your why is strong enough, right? If the why is strong enough, you can tolerate anyhow. So how big is your why? If your why is strong, then you can find a way how to be a part of this. And that's it, folks. I hope that's really helped. If you got any questions, put them in the chat here. I hope that was helpful for anybody. I hope that kind of opened some eyes, right? While we've got Martini here, I figured I might as well just get her to jump on and talk about next steps if you do want to contact her. If not, give me any questions here in the chat and I'll try to go through them and give you some feedback. Although I think Martini, are you jumping to a call for Investment Club as well? I don't know. Okay, yeah.
Yes, I have a master class to get to, so I'll make this brief for you. But yes, once again, thank you all for deciding to spend part of your Monday with us. I couldn't think of a better way to start the week than with the London Real family. And what I really want you guys to take away is that opportunities like this are once in a lifetime type of opportunity. You know, Brian talked about, a little bit about how the wealthy are normally keeping this type of info to themselves, right? And so where the general public like us would not have access to these things. And one thing that I can definitely say that I appreciate about you, Brian, is that you don't just withhold information and you don't just, just hoard things. You, as soon as you get things, you are always looking for ways into how you can share this with your community, how you can support everybody in growing, and how you can help people to really transform their lives as well as their finances. So guys, this is not something that is open to the general public, and this is not something that you guys would have access to easily. Please take advantage of this opportunity. So when years go by, you can't afford to say that you did not know. You can't afford to say that you did not have access. You can't afford to say that it wasn't available for you. It is here and it is now. So seize that opportunity and seize the moment. And for those of you who are looking to invest, but this is fairly new to you, I understand as I have calls with people that it can be a little bit intimidating. One, when it talks about AI, another when it talks about investing, and it can be overwhelming. What I want to say is that we've got 72 people from all over the world on the inside who are willing to support you every step of the way. And of course, with Brian leading the way. So if you're new to investing, new to AI, that is okay. We are there to support you. For those of you who are wanting to join us, I put my links inside of the chat there. What I would say is to go ahead and take a look at the Investment Club page first and take a look at everything that we are there to support you with and everything that the Investment Club entails. And as you are going through the page, just go ahead and jot down a couple of questions. And if you want to go ahead and book a call with me, and if you're serious about joining us, go ahead and book your call. My link is there. But once again, like Brian said, I only want to talk to people who are serious and are ready to pull the trigger now. These investments are going to be going by next week. And so I don't have time to talk to people who are not willing to really just jump in. I don't want to hear that you're going to join a year from now, 6 months from now. The opportunity is here and it is now. And I only want to speak to people who are serious about joining us now. I know that we're spread out from all over the land, all over the world. So if you do not see a time that is available on my calendar, just go ahead and send me a private message on Facebook and just let me know, who you are, where you're from, and what time is more ideal for you in your time zone. And I'll definitely do my best to accommodate. Like Brian says, I'm up round the clock, and it's not because I have to be, it's really because I love connecting with you guys and I really love seeing how we can support you. So this is truly a labor of love. So connect with me on Facebook. There is always email, but I'm a millennial, so Facebook is always the fastest way to get me. So once again, I hope that you guys took away some serious gems that you can move on, with your future, working alongside with AI, as well as investing in these projects and investing in a greater future instead of leaving it in the hands of people who won't do so right with it. So, all right, guys, I got to hop on our Investment Club Mastermind. Thank you once again for spending your Monday with us, and we hope to see you on the next live call. Back to you, Brian.
All right, give it up for Martini. Always there, always large and in charge. And so she's like a huge part. She's also intimately involved inside the Investment Club, and she's invested in Zarka and a lot of these other investments as well. So if you're lucky, you book a call with Martini. And look, I hope you can find some way to join us. This really is a special, special place. The community also is just amazing. Incredible people from around the world. And again, all sorts of different types of verticals, all remaking their careers. And we plan on being together for a long time and making a lot of money together. Some great comments throughout. It looks like a lot of people really had their eyes open. A lot of opinions about whether AI will dominate us, about whether some of these investments are going to ramp up or not. A couple people concerned about Google, lowering a bunch of those standards. I've also just heard some rumors that Google's going all in on this. They've just developed a brand new workplace to actually come back, and this is like life or death for them. So this is going to get really interesting. There's going to be a ton of money going into this. Our realities are going to significantly change in the next 12 months. You want to be ahead of this, and you want to be a part of this. And I hope you can all find a way to join us. So that's what I would say. Thank you so much for the time tonight. We really appreciate this. I hope you find out a way to talk to Martini, and I look forward to seeing you on that call on Thursday if you can make it happen. All right. Lots of love. Bless. Thanks, everybody. Take care.